Hello everyone, Caren Glasser here, and welcome to this episode of The Passion Point. This is the show where we follow passionistas from around the world who are following their passion, making a living, doing what they love. And today I am excited because my guest is Belle Kohen, the original Belle Kohen. I have had the opportunity of getting to know Belle in the last a couple of months. I was just on her show. She is dynamic. She is awesome. She's a transformational coach who masterfully works with women 50 and above, I'm one of those, woohoo, to realize their dreams and passions and elegantly design the next chapter of their lives. She brings a lifetime of real world experiences to her businesses. And today, Belle is marrying her business strategy savvy with her deeply intuitive nature and her passion for facilitating powerful transformation. She's the host, as I just mentioned, of Unleash Your Bold Radio. And I was just a guest on it. She's awesome. She's a great interviewer. She's a great conversationalist. And I just can see I'm just like this. I can't wait because we've got Belle here. So Belle, welcome to the show. How are you this morning?
I am wonderfully excellent. Thank you.
You know what I like to say? I'm so awesome, it ought to be a sin. That's how I like to answer.
So I have a good one. I'm so good it hurts.
Oh, I love that too. Love that too. Well, Belle, I'm just so excited to have you on. We just had an amazing conversation the other day, and I'm just happy to have you on so I can share you now with my network. And we always like to start the Passion Point with a definition of passion according to Webster's dictionary. And Webster says that passion is an intense, driving, or overmastering feeling or conviction. That's what Webster says. What does Belle say?
Belle says she agrees with Webster because obviously that's the person who did the definition. But let's take it a step further and let's talk about how it is that each person in themselves has their own passion. And my being and my reason for being around, I believe, is to help women uncover and find out what their passions are. Allowing yourself to dream, allowing yourself to do some inner work and find what your passions are.
Well, there could be no loftier goal than that, actually. And, you know, and as we have chatted and gotten to know one another, you know, we actually have talked about passion and how it drives us and how you are working with women of a certain age, over 50.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk a little bit about your journey, because I think you are also a woman of a certain age. And so you didn't just wake up at a certain age and say, I think I'm going to do this. You have been on a journey. So let's talk about your journey. You can go as far back as you want, but
okay.
How did you get to where you are today?
Well, you know, it's a series of all of the things that I've done in the past. And, you know, I have a handful of them. I will mention them. I trained as a dental hygienist. I worked in the field for many years, but not specifically hands-on. I did do hands-on dentistry for years, but I worked with children in a pedo practice, which was the most fun because I got to be a kid all day, giggling and laughing with them. But it took me into the practice management and the consulting end of dentistry, which was system designs and putting systems in place so that people were very successful in their business. And I worked with the teams and we had the most wonderful relationships. You know, I went in 3 or 4 different times a year and for 3 or 4 days at a time. So I did have strong relationships with clients. I was working for a company called Mercer Advisors, and I also worked for 1-800-DENTIST, which is a TV commercial. So
I'm familiar with that one.
Right. So, you know, if you think about it for a moment, I went in as a trainer, and when you referred to a dental practice from somebody who's already in the practice, that is a totally different mindset than someone who picks up their telephone and calls a phone number to get a dentist. So my job was to go in and teach and advise the staff on how different that referral is. And many offices were very successful with it. And many offices had to continue doing the same old thing and they didn't get it. So, you know, that was an opportunity. And I learned a lot about how many roadblocks there are and how mindset really makes a difference in whether or not you're successful. I then went on to do screen printing and advertising specialties, which are mugs, magnets, and calendars and all that kind of fun stuff. So that wasn't the end. I then owned a pet store. I'm multi-talented in that I do things that are presented to me, and a lot of times I say yes, and then I have to figure it out.
Well, so wait, stop for 1 minute. Okay,
sure.
Is that a woman's thing? Is that a woman's thing? Because I do that too. Why do we do?
Why do we? There are very different mindsets for different people. I know people who would never venture to do something unless they researched it and made sure that, you know, all the ducks were in a row. But what I find is that's my personality, and obviously you and I are similar in that way. We jump off the diving board and we get wet, and then we go backwards, and, you know, then we put our ducks in a row. But to me, the challenge and the excitement in my life is the opportunity and the possibility.
Right.
So that, you know, that to me is passion. Going
Absolutely. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you said that, it was like, oh my gosh, I resemble that comment.
I resemble it, and we do. But to me, that is the essence of life, is all of those possibilities. So if I take all of the business background that I have and all of the different things that I've done in my life, and I look at what it is that brought me along on my journey, it wasn't until I became a grandmother for the second or third time, I can't remember which, and in my face was presented the fact that my kids, who are grown and have their own kids, I'm a grandma of 6, said to me, you know, you need to kind of step back a little. And that was my realization that I had permission to go on this journey from then on and be who I am and be a grandmother and be a mother, but at a different level. So I was 60 before that happened to me. So my passion is working with women who are, you know, kudos to you who are younger than 50 and figure it out. And those who are 50 who have the opportunity at that point to really look at who they are and do some investigation of self and move forward with me, perhaps, or whomever it is they choose to, but to understand that it's not the last chapter of our lives, it's the next chapter. And for many of us, it may be the best chapter. So that's what I've really found, and am excited to share, that your journey can start at any time, but you're so entitled to it. It is your birthright, and why not?
Oh my gosh, why not? So let's just kind of stop there for a second, and let's talk about, are there common challenges or questions that are asked by women over 50 that you end up talking with that come up? What are the things that are holding them back? I mean, I don't want to be too general. I'd like you actually to get a little specific here. What are some of the things that when people come to you that just like stops them in their tracks and they just can't seem to get past that?
Well, there are several. And one of the main ones, and it was for me, you know, we raise our children, for those of us who have them, to grow into mature adults and to be able to raise a family and to have the values and to be who they are. And we have to learn as mothers to let them have their wings and to allow them to then, you know, take off and soar. And, you know, I happen to have 2 very special children, so I'm very proud of them. But you know what? We, as mothers, wives, sisters, friends, whatever, the biggest part of what my teaching is that we have to allow people to grow on their own with help. So I have women who are empty nesters. The kids have moved out, or, you know, now there's a lot of them who are moving back in. So that's another whole issue. But there are the relationships, you know, as you age, there's divorce, there's separation, there's death. I mean, there are a lot of things, and how specific, fortunately or unfortunately, everyone has their own set of issues that they bring to a coaching platform. There's also women who are finishing their careers or have lost a job, And at age 50, that is not the most wonderful time to be out there looking for a job, unfortunately. Because of all the wisdom that we have, you would think that
Right.
employers would be looking for us, but instead they're looking at how much salary they're going to have to pay. So there's a whole issue around that, and that's a big portion of who I coach are people who are thinking about leaving their corporate positions, who are wondering what else there is that's going to go on for them in the next chapter, and those who have been downsized or pink slipped.
Right, absolutely. So is there like a question that you could share that would be like the first thing you might ask someone who comes to you that would get them thinking about what would be the next step? Can you divulge like one of your,
Well,
questions?
I mean, this isn't a huge secret, but it's something that I say in a very fun-loving way. What do you want to be when you grow up? And, I'm serious about it in a small way because unfortunately or fortunately, so many of us have been so busy taking care of everyone else and being the nurturer caretakers that we've never even allowed ourselves to ask that question. And the beauty of being so simplistic in asking it is that it triggers, really, have I ever even taken the time to think that? I mean, what did I want to be when I grew up? I wanted, I think, to be on the stage, be on the screen, be visible. And really, in a year and a half, I was on a TV show that was filmed in Hollywood. I have a radio show. I have an online magazine. And did I ever really stop and think that stuff when I was little? Did someone ever pose that question to me? You bet they did. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? What have you ever thought of? So really, you have to think broadly and then work to laser focus and then build it from there.
Or you could be like some people like me who say, well, do I have to grow up? I mean, I don't know if I want to grow up, right?
Well, listen, those of us who have pixie dust sprinkling all over us, we don't ever have to grow up, but we have to have a great time on the journey. And
Yeah, I agree.
that's life. So many of us are so closed in and so inside of our box. And I'm kind of the person, and I bet you are too, I like to have, an eraser and kind of move the lines of the box this way, that way, and shift into it. So it's being playful. It's allowing yourself to have the positive energy and to be joyful every single day about something. Think of those who don't ever have any joy in their lives.
And I'm listening to you talk, and especially since your target in the area and the people that you work with are over 50 or thereabouts and moving to, we hear in the media that today's 50 was yesterday's, or yet today's 30 is however the thing goes back and forth. Do you think that it's really about age as much as it's about attitude?
Listen. My mother is almost 94 years old. I just came back from visiting her for a week in Florida. And 94, her mind is absolutely perfect. She remembers long-term and short-term. So it's only a number. We're going to live, fortunately or unfortunately, into our hundreds and above in the next, 50 years. So it's more about being focused and being bold and being willing to unleash your bold, which to me really is the essence of what I do. Numbers do not mean anything. It's about your health, your well-being. It's about how you are in your body, whether you're taking care of yourself, what you're eating, all that stuff that is out there, and we either absorb it or we don't. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not 100% anything. But I do my best to be my best and enjoy myself and do something fun every day. So what I'm doing right now, this constitutes as my joyful moment for the day. It doesn't mean that it's the only thing that I'm going to do today that's joyful. It means that I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this. This is great.
I so love that. I mean, just that one little piece of advice, to do something fun every day, to do something that you enjoy, that brings you joy and that you're joyful. It's sort of in alignment also with the whole, the gratitude movement. What
Right.
are you grateful for today? And sometimes, and I make a point every single day is to when I wake up in the morning, okay, think of 3 things. What am I grateful for right this moment? And
Right.
sometimes it's a challenge, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's not. Are you a grateful person? Are you on that gratitude movement thing?
Well, I am. And I also, I'm on this, I feel like I want to be, and I am trying very hard to be an ambassador for women our age on a global level to learn to unleash your bold. I am grateful, and I read something from Entrepreneur Magazine that was so great about what grateful people do. And I did it yesterday and today. And the one thing that I garnered from this was not to pick up your cell phone and start looking at emails the first thing in the morning. That there are a few things that you should really do first. One is, being grateful that you woke up.
Right.
That's really, we take it so for granted.
Yes, we do.
Number 2, before you get out of bed, think about your day, plan ahead, think about what is the one joyful thing you're going to think about doing for yourself today. Another thing was to get a little exercise, be sure to eat breakfast. So I've been doing that and not touching my cell phone for an hour. And I happen to be an addict.
I'm
I
getting
will
panicked
admit.
just listening to you right now. I'm literally panicking. Oh my God, if I did, I
There's
couldn't touch.
something I need to check. But yeah, not being so addicted, and give yourself an hour in the morning to get started. Now, some people get up really early. I am not an early riser. But so that it doesn't destroy my day, that it doesn't start at 6 in the morning, but it gives me an opportunity to get focused, centered, and be grateful. So I take my
Wonderful.
cute doggy for a walk and, get a little exercise.
So
And
you have your actual system that I mean, every day you know what you're going to do when you wake up in the morning, and it kind of sets the stage for the day.
well, it sets the tone anyway, and it gives you an opportunity to breathe, which we all know getting that oxygen in allows you to get centered, allows you to get some oxygen in your body. I find, and another tip that I'd love to share, is that when I stop at a red light, if you program yourself to think when the light turns red, to take in a deep breath through your nose, hold it for 3 seconds, and then let it out, you would be surprised after 2 or 3 of those. It makes a big difference.
Oh, it's huge, huge. I actually, that's part of how I practice mindfulness is through my breathing techniques and things like that. Breathing in through your nose and exhaling through your mouth and
Right.
counting. And for a lot of people, that's a challenge because it makes you slow down. You don't have a choice. You have to slow down. So I'm
Right.
totally understanding that. Let's talk a little bit about your magazine. You mentioned it, and I know it's coming out in September, right?
September. Yep, September 15th. This is the 3rd issue. It's called Unleashed. And what is amazing about it is there currently are 10 writers. We have different categories that we write to. It's not themed. I believe that, that's too structured for me. So I like everybody to choose something that they're writing to. It's health and wellness. It's about money and being mindful about how you spend your money. I actually have a list, which I'm not going to look at, but about dreaming. So these writers all came together, and the next issue is going to feature a very close friend of mine as the star on the front cover. We're going to do a major shootout even before. And the thing that's really interesting about this particular magazine is that I am now the publisher on my own. And so for me, it's an inaugural issue, even though it has already been out a couple of times. So, it's something that I didn't even think about, and yet I'm so proud of it. And I'm so proud of the fact that I have a team behind me and people who are writing, and they get publicity from it, and it's a part of me that's able to share. And so, doing things on a global level again.
I love it, and I want to applaud you for that. Number one, congratulations, and I know it has to be a little scary to be stepping into being the publisher,
A little.
but I'm first of all, how excited I am for you because it's a digital asset which can be viewed by. So, how do people go and subscribe to Unleashed?
Let's see. Right now, the best thing to do is to go to my Facebook page, which is Unleashed Women. So, you do if you're on Facebook, it's just Unleashed Women. And you can just see all of the issues and you just click on them. Now, I am going to have everything as of September 1st. Everything is going to be in an Unleash Your Bold media. So it's going to be so much easier. And I'm doing, obviously, a redesign as we do while we're working on everything that we're working on. We're doing a redesign so that everybody will have one place to go to on my website, which is coachbelle.com.
I think that's awesome. And just so you know, for our viewers, all you're going to have to do is look right below this video into the run sheet, and you will see the link to Coach Belle's fan page that you can then go over there and go and look at the issues and get to know, Belle much better, which is great. So what we talked before the show started, and I told you that I love quotes. And so I asked you to go dig one out, and I'm going to tell you my favorite for today, at least.
Okay, yes.
Every day. And then I'm going to ask you to share one of yours. This particular quote comes from Oprah Winfrey, and she says, "Passion is energy. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you." I love that quote. So what quote right now is resonating with you?
Well, mine happens to be my Michelangelo, who we all know as the famous artist. And this says, "The greatest danger for most of us is not that we," I don't know what it says. "The greatest danger for most of us is not that our something is too high." Our goals. Thank you, honey. Our goals are too high and we miss it, but that it's too low and we reach it. Really, some of us don't even set goals. And people like Oprah Winfrey, she's just a regular, everyday person. And look at what kind of an empire and how she serves others. And that's, I think, the beauty of setting goals and reaching what you want and going even so much further above it. We were put on this earth for a reason, and each one of us is so powerful. And I always talk about this show that I saw on TV about what it takes to make a person. So if you're here, you need to unleash your bold. It's a miracle out there. It is an absolute miracle.
It is. It absolutely does. It is. And, and you just talked about goals, and you talked about Oprah Winfrey, and it's not just having those goals, but visualizing them, being able to picture them in your head, be able to see what they look like so you know where you're going towards. Right. And when pieces of things show up on your doorstep to make it a little bit easier, or at least to point the direction towards your goal, at least you know to recognize them because you have that idea and that thought in your head. Would you agree with that?
Not only agree with it, but I am a possibility person and an opportunity person. And when you allow yourself, when it shows up at your doorstep and you don't close the door and you leave it wide open, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, that's really, I spend hours a day connecting on Skype and having personal conversations with people because I'm a real relationship person and I'm very bold. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to demonstrate bold the same way that I do, but it does mean that you are allowed the opportunity to be bold in your own way. And that's the essence of how I work and what I think.
Right, and you attract like-minded people that way. You put yourself out in a certain way, and those that don't resonate with that are not going to come to your door. But those who do resonate with that are definitely, because you're coming to the table authentic. You're coming to the table as who exactly you are. And I believe, as I know you do, that people appreciate that. I mean, they want to know that who they're talking to is who they're talking to, not just this facade, this thing. Right. Now, I told you I was going to ask you some questions here that that might seem a little, bizarre. But one of them is, if you could spread passion dust anywhere in the world on anyone in the world, who would you spread it on, and what would you hope to accomplish?
My goodness, that's a great one. Well, I have like this jar of pixie dust that I carry around with me. And I think because I love my children so much, I think it would be my kids. And I think that this pixie dust would be just that I brought them into the world, and I only want the most supreme, high, most powerful, wonderful things for them. And, they are a living legacy for me. So I think it would be my kids.
I think that's a great answer. Great answer. In fact, you are the only person that I've asked that has actually answered it in that way. So I really appreciate that, because that's where I would spread my dust as well, on my kids. Because,
well, I kind of feel like, that is what I have given the world. And as a global ambassador, I am willing to share them with you.
I love that. So the next question then is there a song or songs that you're passionate about? What songs float your boat?
Oh, I'm such a big Beatles fan, and I would say that the one that rings my bell the most, and that is a pun, is now I can't think of the name of it, but I might have to sing it. Good heavens!
Go ahead and sing. This is
I got to think of what it is first. It's well, I'm totally blank. It has the word sunshine. Good day, sunshine.
I love that song.
Good day, sunshine. That's the way you need to wake up. That's the way you need to go to bed.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so do you have a guilty passion?
A what?
A guilty passion.
Oh, I never thought of that. Well, I think it's chocolate ice cream. I'm guilty of always having it in my fridge, and I don't have to have like a sundae. I just need a scoop, like a tablespoon.
I was going to say, I don't even need a scoop. I just need the spoon right out of the bucket right there, right? You are so delightful. I am just enjoying our conversation, and we're getting towards the end of the show. And so I would like to give you an opportunity to let people know how to reach you and how to get in touch with you. And I know you have an offering. So why don't you tell everyone what that is and how they can get in touch with you?
Okay. So what I have to offer is a deck of inspirational cards. And all you need to do is go to my website. It's coachbelle.com. And like Karen said, it'll be at the bottom. They are just, something to bring a little joy and thought into your life every day. You can print them out on your computer. And there's also an opportunity there to have what I call a From Daunted to Daring session with me. And it, can be anywhere from 15 minutes to a half an hour. But the beauty of that is that I am very intuitive, and, I can feel your pain. So, sign up for that call, and I'd love to have a conversation with you and just, show you what it is to unleash your bold.
I love that. And for our viewers, take Belle up on this. I'm blessed to meet some amazing people in my life. And when I met Belle, literally, we're cut from the same cloth. I had never met her before. Somebody introduced me to you. And truly, I am so blessed to have you in my network, in my circle of friends. So I want to thank you for that. And I also want to thank our listeners and our viewers, because we know that you have a choice as to how you're going to spend your time each and every day. And we want to thank you for spending time with us today. We so appreciate you. And so, as I say every single week, have an awesome day. Go out and give someone else an awesome day. And we'll see you next time on the next episode of The Passion Point. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.